If you've been advertising on Facebook and you're looking to jump over to YouTube ads, then you're gonna wanna watch this video to avoid any common mistakes that Facebook media buyers usually run into when they start out with YouTube ads. So let's get into it.
Hey, so I'm Juan. I'm the YouTube channel manager here at Linx, and I have a little bit of experience with Facebook ads. I have some Facebook ads that are being successful, and I wanted to start running some YouTube ads. So I was asking Andres what's the best way to do this transition, and he had some very interesting insights. So this is what we're gonna be talking about in this video. Now, the first question that I have is, I had some videos that are performing well on Facebook, and I wanted to just use the same videos on YouTube, and you had some interesting insights on that. So yeah, we'd love to hear them.
Sure, definitely. And for those Facebook media buyers that are watching this video today and are interested in doing YouTube ads, there's a lot of things to take into account. Now, if you have successful videos on YouTube that are converting well, the costs are great, you have a high CTR, keep in mind that those videos, they may not translate that same success over on YouTube right away, right? Or even at all, right? Because YouTube, it's a whole different ad platform. There's different formats. And not to say that you shouldn't try it, because you can try it, and we've had some success in other instances with the same video. But what you want to do is actually come up with different scripts and a different video format, and even like a hook, possibly maybe the same as Facebook, but you want to slightly modify it so you can get better results on YouTube, so you can maximize those results. Because sometimes the same videos, they just don't carry over the same success, because you have, first of all, the target audience, your target audience on YouTube may not be the same as your target audience on Facebook. So they may not react the same to your video, right? But the ad format is the most important thing. You want to ensure that the video has the proper format in order for you to actually maximize the performance of the video.
Got it. So if I use square videos, do you think that would work?
Well, you want to follow the dimensions, right? So, you want to follow the horizontal dimensions that YouTube has as requirements. Sometimes the square ones, they look a little bit off. They don't look as professional, even though people do, they do click on those, right? They do watch those, and at times they do convert well. You'll see a lot of those, but it's better to play the game, right? Play the game as YouTube wants you to play it, as opposed to just kind of, testing out the same thing from Facebook.
Got it. So I was going to start testing a lot of different audiences, which is like normal Facebook practices, and
right.
then you told me to slow it down a little bit when it comes to YouTube. So why is that?
Correct. So yeah, like on Facebook ads, with Facebook ads, a lot of media buyers, they do start out with one campaign and like 4 or 6 ad sets at a time, right? And then you have different ads within that ad set, and you just kind of go ham with that. In some instances, it can work on Facebook. Now on YouTube side though, like we've already tested and tried everything. From creating multiple ad groups in one campaign, which in ad groups on YouTube is ad groups, same thing, the equivalent of the ad set on Facebook, okay?
Got it.
So the thing is, what we've seen works best is if you have an isolated campaign, meaning you have one campaign, one ad group, which is one targeting setting, and then you can have multiple ads, right? That's the way that you should start out with YouTube. So, that's what we're talking about in this video, is the Facebook ad mentality. You just want to go in and just test a whole bunch of stuff, group a whole bunch of audience targeting into one, and that's probably not going to give you the results that you're looking for. So you're going to want to have one campaign, one targeting option, and you can have 2 to 4 ads. Okay?
If I want to test another audience, then I should create another campaign.
That is correct.
And when I'm scaling, how aggressive can I go when I'm increasing, bids and so on?
Sure. So, on Facebook, on the Facebook side, as you know, you have campaign budget optimization, which is the option for you to scale by campaign, which is what's recommended nowadays on Facebook. And you can come in with the mentality of, I want to scale aggressive. If your funnel is already converting well, if your opt-in rates are there, your conversion rates are there overall, then you can scale pretty aggressively, and you can start out with $50 campaigns and just scale up to $100 every 2 to 3 days, depending on the performance. A lot of guys on Facebook, they tend to be a little bit more aggressive, and they'll raise a budget, let's say from $20 a day to like 200, and sometimes they see the performance, does increase, right? But it might falter a little bit, right? So with YouTube side, it does take some time for the algorithm to kick in. So you can expect at the beginning the cost to be a little higher in terms of like lead costs or acquisition costs in general, but it does take some time to let's say get dialed in, right? As of Facebook, you put in $5, $10 a day campaigns, you can start getting results fairly right away. But for the scalability aspect of it on YouTube, you have to have some structure, and you have to know, all right, I'm gonna wait 2 to 3 days before we get the campaigns to start actually increasing the budget once the performance is there. Yeah, so I mean, one thing that I can tell you is that typically with Facebook, the mentality of Facebook media buyers nowadays is like, all right, how can I create campaigns and ads that are, let's say, policy compliant, right? Because that's one of the major things right now that's going on. And we do have videos about that, like in regards to like Facebook versus YouTube in terms of the ad policies. And I can tell you, a lot of people are getting banned accounts. Okay, a lot of people are getting their accounts banned, disapproved ads. And that's one of the things, the mentality with Facebook nowadays and advertisers is, man, I gotta create some content that's gonna be, really, let's say clean, right? And so I have to really think about that before I can actually go through with publishing my ads, okay? So, if you come up with that mentality, you might be a little restrained, right? When it comes to your strategy and your content, as opposed with Google and YouTube. I mean, you can just be a little bit, it's more lenient, as we all know, or those that don't know, Google is more lenient in that sense. And you'll be able to test more creative and be a little bit more aggressive with your approach, with your messaging. So that's one of the things that, for the Facebook ads mentality, get away from the fact that, you have to be really extra careful with what little words you say here. You do have to be careful, obviously. You're not gonna mention, a whole bunch of random stuff that can get you, disapproved. But the thing is, you're not gonna get your Google ad account banned because you got a whole bunch of disapprovals, right? So that's one thing that you want to keep into account.
God, it makes sense. Makes sense. And you do get obviously banned accounts on YouTube.
Yeah, you can, but it's rare, more rare than Facebook. Facebook is more
and it's
common.
On terms the customer support, what do you think there's a difference there, or it's kind of the same?
Yeah, so no, there's definitely a bit of a difference. On Google, you can't expect to be chatting with somebody right away. They have, within the ads platform, they have the option, as you may know, some of you guys have more experience, you can connect with Google support right away, via chat. You can call them, email them right away. With Facebook, it's a bit more difficult, right? So that way, you can leave that mentality behind as well as a Facebook media buyer, of like, okay, if I need support right away, I'm gonna have to actually go find the link. I have to go look for the support docs and see where I can actually reach out to chat with Facebook, right? With Google, the great thing is it's right there, right? It's like a button away. It's a lot easier. And for the most part, they're more responsive, right? And they'll get you a resolution a lot faster than Facebook at most times. That's at least from my experience. So I don't know, ever leave a comment below if you've had a different experience.
Got it. And what do you think about the waiting times when you're trying to get profitable on YouTube?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you know, it really comes down to the algorithm doing its thing and really ensuring that it's trained enough for you to actually have the results that you require, right? You know, you can start with very small campaigns, and from there you can just work your way up. I mean, we've taken accounts that, you know, we're spending $200 a day to getting them to spend 3 to 4K a day within like a couple of weeks, you know?
Oh, God.
So,
That's
you know, yeah, so it is possible, and profitably, obviously, you know, but you need to ensure that, that, you know, you have all the tracking in place, you have everything. Oh, that's one other thing, right? The tracking piece that I can talk about briefly. And the issue is that with Facebook, there's a little bit more levers to pull in terms of the tracking. You know, as you have the Facebook pixel, you know, you have the custom conversions, especially in e-com. You know, a lot of this, you guys maybe are in the e-com space. You know, you have a lot of the dynamic values to worry about and a whole bunch of other stuff to track. With YouTube ads, it's a lot easier, you know, using the Google Tag Manager, where you can set up a whole bunch of you know, the conversion actions, and it's going to be a lot more cleaner, if you will, as opposed to Facebook, especially if you have like multiple offers. So that's one thing I wanted to mention as well.
Got it. And if you're doing Facebook and at the same time YouTube, how do you track that? What's like the most accurate way? Yeah,
it's a great question, Juan. So like for us, the ideal way to go about it is having separate funnels, right? Because what ends up happening is on Facebook side, so you know, we've encountered this before, is we have a client that they have a specific offer where it's like make money online sort of niche, and let's say they get banned on Facebook, right? And then he has to go in and change his funnel. He has to change his landing page copy, so that way it complies with Facebook's advertising. But what happens is, like if we're running ads on YouTube side, okay, and on Facebook to the same funnel, and like let's say on the one on YouTube it's already working, right? The way it is, like we don't have any issues, no banning issues. It's gonna be an issue because they're gonna change the copy, they're gonna change, you know, the look, the design, whatever. The whole user experience changes. So that can be detrimental to the YouTube side. So what we always try to encourage is we have separate funnels, right? So one, you know, you have a page on Click. Let's say people use ClickFunnels. They have their ClickFunnels for Facebook, and then they have the ClickFunnels on the YouTube side, and we'll just set up tracking there.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's all my questions. However, if you have any more questions for Andres, you can leave them in the comments below. He's gonna answer you.
Thanks for watching the video today, and remember, if you're a Facebook media buyer and you're looking to advertise on YouTube, definitely do your homework, right? And you know, obviously in this channel, we're gonna give you, we have content, you know, so much content regarding the differences between Facebook and Google, you know, why for certain niches, maybe you're better off advertising with YouTube instead of Facebook. So don't forget to, you know, browse through, look at these videos that we have here, and you're gonna get a lot of value from this. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the button, smash the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications so that way you're notified once we have new YouTube ad knowledge to be dropped. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.